Hello, you blood-mad mice. It's turn number 42 of my all Warhammer Nations game. I'm playing as Skavenblight. Let's see what the turn's about. I'm going to have to be fairly quick with this turn because I'm a little short on time, so let's get on with it. Got research and alteration. That was a quick detour we did to get a couple of spells we needed. I've cast a Doom Wheel, Seeking's Court, so that's a Water 3 mage, a giant troll mage, and his underwater troll, sea troll bodyguards. We've cast Dark Knowledge, but we didn't find anything. And we've got another Doom Wheel. And Troll King's Court, so that's an Earth 3 troll mage and his various troll bodyguards. Bit of blood hunting, and then we've got some battles to watch. So the first one was us attacking Goldtooth Mountains. We have rats, and these are our gutter runners, and we're basically just charging the gutter runners in, looking for weak PD, and we got it. So let's just go through this quick. The gutter runners are pretty good combatants, and the rats help them out. We've got a battle in the Mines of Fortune, and that's between the Lizardmen and Chaos Dwarfs. So this is their cave fort. This is the main Lizardman army, so we can have a little bit of a look at it. It's huge numbers of all different types of sacred sauruses, just absolutely massive numbers. They've clearly invested a lot of gems into summoning these, and they're all different types. And then they have a mid-sized communion of these skink priests as communion slaves, and tons of communion masters in the form of these slann. They've also got a third generation slann who is extremely powerful. Of course, they've got a big communion boost as well. So some really terrifying firepower at their disposal. And then on the other side, it's just province defense and a couple of statues. So I'll just go through this quick. This is sort of a good place for them to fight the Chaos Dwarfs because it is in the dark, but you can see they've got their teleporters attacking the back there, and just tons and tons of lizards. I'm not seeing any big spells go up here because it hasn't triggered gem usage, but we can see that some of their slann don't have any gems. I presume they've got some scouts that are there carrying gems with them. They've got a little bit of blood magic going because they've got some blood slaves there. And I think one of their slann has a bunch of nature gems. Yeah, there's some nature gems on one of their slann, but not very many gems present, so they weren't planning on casting a great deal. But yeah, look at this army. Absolutely massive army of sacred, particularly a lot of Saurus of Glazcoatl and Saurus of Chotek. The Chotek ones are very fire resistant, which is pretty nasty, you know, 89 very, very, very fire resistant sacreds there. And then they get lots of other resistances too. So if we have to fight those, there's going to be a big problem for us because we've been relying on fire quite a bit. Then we've got a battle us attacking the Lizardmen in Namor. So this is another one where we're hoping to just hit province defense. It's a bit of Vermintide from our Plague Priest and just our Censer Bearers. So another straightforward one for them. That's basically the same thing they did in the other province. Very little has changed in these battles. It's just our forces that are taking independent provinces or taking Lizardman provinces with not very many defences are just carrying on doing it. And then we've attacked up here. This is the big horde of barbarians that turned up. You'll recall I just sent lots of rats and some weapons teams, so we can watch the weapons teams just spraying poison all over them. And then when they get into close range, it's lightning as well. But yeah, fire, lightning, poison all over these barbarians, and then the rats are running in. They've already started to flee, so they are going to be very quickly ripped apart by the rats. There we go. I don't think we lost anything significant there. Yeah, just giant rats, which doesn't really matter. Then we've got an attack on the Lizardmen in Operi. So this is a bit of a tougher expansion force. This is Storm Vermin, and then we've got some poison throwers and a bit of lightning and fire. And again, it's just province defense. I think here we might see the some more of our friendly fire happening. We'll see. Yeah, a bit of poison, a bit more there. So we probably lose some storm vermin to poison. Yep, a couple of storm vermin lost to poison. We lost 4 storm vermin, 2 clan rat spear. That's fine. No retaliations from the lizardmen at all here. But they have decided to attack us in Elderhill, and that's at the fort, so they're presumably trying to liberate their fort. So we've got a big backup communion of skink priests, so those are all automatically casting communion slave, because there is a master present in the form of the 5th generation Slann. So we have a master present, and they have a scattering of Temple Guard, which are pretty good sacreds, and then Saurus of Huanchi, which are very nice sacreds, and extra poison resistance, stealthy, and have dark power, which is very nice if you can get into a cave. And against them, we've got lots of rats, Temple Guard, and then tons of mages. We've got significant mage firepower here, so we've got anti-magic went off, we've got imps being summoned up, lots of legions of steel and strength of giants, fire elemental in the middle, and we've got our doom wheel spitting out lightning as well. So I'm feeling pretty confident of this. Plenty of stuff hailing down on the lizards. Let's just put it on slow for a minute while we watch this. Actually, let me pause for a second. That's odd. When I pause it, it brings up a storm moment. That's a bit strange. Yeah, their flank's kind of being crushed by our council guard. In the middle, they've destroyed all our rats and things, but we've got stuff like astral fires and bane fire crashing in. It looks like the lizardman has been, the Slann has been casting acid rain mostly. He really has no fatigue at all because of his great communion, and he also has reinvigoration, very good reinvigoration. But yeah, we've just overwhelmed their troops, so their centre is completely collapsed here. The Doom Wheels are doing well. Tons and tons of weapons teams are going to start firing at him. Our imps now are attacking the back because everyone else is routed, so they're going to be turning up. That's mainly imps. Yeah, that's imps from Lifelong Protection that I've got present in the battle. And we have now got into their mages and started slaughtering them. And the Slann is on fire. So yeah, he's done for too. Yep, we got the Slann. Now we did lose a fair bit there, including quite a few council guards it looks like. But overall, a pretty nice battle for us. Let's have a look. Oh, wrong battle. Elderhill, we lost 14 clan rats, 2 clan rats, but 18 council guards. Ooh, not a huge fan of losing that many council guards. They cost 22 gold each, of course, and they're capital only. On the other side, though, we've got the Temple Guard, which are much more expensive because they're significantly better. And we did manage to kill 9 Temple Guard. We also killed a lot of Saurus of Huanchi. Now, they don't have a gold cost, above 1 because they're a summon, but that's a nature summon we've killed a bunch of. They will have a lot of these because they've got they've got Mother O Cup, I think, providing them with nature gems constantly. But the really good thing here is we took out one of the Slann. It's one of the lesser Slann. 700 gold is still pretty expensive though. Took out all of their commanders really. 11 skink priests, those are 115 gold each. So a pretty nice pickup there, pretty nice win. We did lose just to things flying around. I'm not sure exactly what killed them. We lost one of our warlock engineers and we lost one of our warlocks. Bit unfortunate. And yeah, 4 storm vermin there as well and a night runner. Oh, we lost a Doomflayer too. So, and 8 Sense Bearers. Yeah, so this wasn't really a cheap victory. This wasn't like a big victory for us, but I would say we came out ahead on that. And of course, we've got in a position where we're now probably going to take away their fort in Elderhill. Got some events. Whoops, Steam disappears. We've located another one to replace it. Got 5 nature gems, which is lovely, because our first nature mage will have been recruited now, the Enchantress, I think. And then we get a lovely event here. This is very auspicious because we've summoned up 2 big lots of trolls this turn as well. We got 44 gold and then 6 assorted gems. Very nice. Clawdoom has foreseen a major event. He is a fortune teller, so they get to foresee major events. It's a people's deathmatch. It's coming in 3 months, so I will let people in the Discord know that that's coming as well. And then hopefully we'll be able to send something decent to that. Not a mage, obviously. And then we've got, we haven't quite got through the walls, which is a bit unfortunate. I was hoping, they're critically damaged, I was hoping I would be cracking them this turn, and then we'd be able to attack. But we're going to have to wait 1 more turn, which means the Lizardmen are probably going to be able to get something there to try and relieve that siege if they want to. And then in Mepito Cliffs, we've got some starving troops. So, what are we doing this turn? Well, over here, we're just moving our forces back, and we're moving some over here. I'm scattering around some mages who can cast fire elementals, and that's because I know that they have Saurus of Huanchi sneaking around. They were doing the same thing to the Chaos Dwarves, so I want to just reinforce provinces here and there and kind of move around semi-randomly, hoping to catch them when they do their sneak attacks. So we'll see how that goes. More Dominion sacrifice pushing. Still recruiting mages over here. Yep, and still recruiting more assassins. We are equipping some of our assassins. You can see I've got a water bottle on them, and some of them won't be equipped, and I'm just kind of going to mix in some that are equipped, some that aren't. I am forging another, I think over here, forging another Amulet of the Dead, because I've got enough Death Gems to be doing that. Here is my Troll King, who is my Earth 3. He is going to wait to get some Earth Boots, and then he's going to be an Earthquake caster, which could be quite nice for us. I have given a water bottle, which does a water elemental, to our Sea King, and the Sea King is going to go and take his army of trolls. So here's the two armies. You get these trolls, your basic trolls, and then you get some war trolls who are a bit better equipped, so much higher protection, and you get a couple of moose knights. So that's the earth trolls, and then the Sea King gets some troll guards who are, higher protection and have a better weapon, and then you get the very basic sea trolls. They're very good at regenerating, but they're not particularly good at fighting. So he is going to go off and take these water provinces for me, basically. That's his job. But I may want to do some other things with him. I'm forging some more bottles of water and more sacrifices. My god at the moment is not doing anything, just waiting for another turn. I'm going to kind of use them as a rapid response force when I need to, and possibly fly somewhere and do an earthquake. Over here on this siege, I've got something still sieging, but I'm also doing quite a bit of preaching to try and get this Dominion down, and then hopefully we'll be ready to storm it next turn. I would like to keep the lizards away, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to. Generally speaking, I'm pushing on and attacking because the Lizardmen have kind of been sluggish to react to me here. They've reacted here and lost. And I know that they've got this fantastic economy. I know they've got this massive force over here. Obviously, they want to take that fort quickly. They'll probably start moving stuff back as they take that fort. But I know the Chaos Dwarves are going to give them a fight over here at least. That would be a brilliant place for me to fight them because of the darkness. But I don't want to fight an army that big. It's pretty terrifying. Just that many sacreds, particularly when lots of them are fire immune. So another thing that I'm doing is just seeding assassins all over the place. Basically, whenever I take a province and I'm not leaving an army in it and I'm not planning on making a stand there or holding it, it's possible the lizards will take it back, and therefore I'm leaving assassins there. If the lizards do go in and take the meager province defense I've left in there, then they'll just get a flood of assassinations hitting them. So assassins all over the place. In fact, some of my assassins are going to start provoking the Lizardmen a bit. There's one up here going to do Instill Uprising. They will see a message for this, and they'll have to go and deal with it potentially, but I'm going to move after I do each turn. So I'm just going to kind of pick at them and push the unrest up to their economy. We've already damaged their economy a bit just by taking this many provinces from them. If we look at the province graph, you can see, I can't see their province graph, but you can see they're going to have the inverse. So they're somewhere around the same number of provinces as me. So they're going to be dropping down here somewhere. I still think that they're probably in a position where they can just beat me in a war. Even though this has been a bad start for them, I haven't really done them that much damage, and it's important to not get kind of carried away with like, oh, I killed a slan and a bunch of skink. That's like less than a turn's worth of stuff for them. They still got loads of stuff. I burned lots of gems in the process of doing it. I just don't have like huge stand-up armies of tough troops in the way that they do. These just massive armies. So I'm going to have to come up with clever traps with loads of assassins, remote spells. Possibly I can jump on them and drop a bunch of earthquakes or something. I'm going to have to come up with something to fight this piecemeal. Or potentially I could just give you the show of a massive fight where I just chuck huge amounts of fire and poison and lightning all over them. But I think given they have troops that are fire resistant, lots of troops that are poison immune basically, things like that are not going to be a fantastic strategy. So I don't know. I'm going to have to come up with a way of just having lots of 9 vulnerable chaff that stands at the front of my armies, and I suspect that they'll be able to cast things like Fog Warriors, Mass Regeneration. They've got really good research, so they could be bringing out Army of Gold, Army of Lead, all those kind of spells. Yeah, I'm hitting them down here, sending more Sense of Bearers. This is actually a pretty significant force. I'm hoping that they'll think that they can catch this force. They maybe will move a force here to try and punish these, thinking that this force here will go for the fort. Maybe they'll just be patrolling there, but I'm going to move a very big force there. And basically what I'm hoping to do is hit a smaller force of theirs with a bigger force of mine and just catch them a few times as I'm rampaging around. This is pretty chaotic. They have to leave some stuff patrolling on Izta. They have to figure I may attack it, so that's good for disrupting them. But I'm basically trying to hit as many places as I can to just screw with their economy And I got quite a lot of gold this turn because of all this conquering I've done of these juicy Lizardman provinces. They've got lovely scales, growth, and order and magic, and the growth in particular means that their provinces are quite tasty. So yeah, a big boost to my economy, which has been nice. I'm also picking up a fair few extra gems. If we look at my gem income just from having done this invasion, you can see that that's been a pretty nice increase there, along with all my other stuff. I really do have crazy good gem income, and that's mainly because of something that is a mechanic that I've basically halved how good it is in the latest version of Skaven, but we're playing with an older version. Yeah, not a huge amount else to say. I'm not coming up with any particularly clever plans here. It's just the same invasion plan I had before. I've refueled my various mages that still need to get gems, and hoping to kind of keep the casualties down, moving some more mages into support, and just going to rampage around, try and harvest as much as I can from the Lizardmen. So we'll see how it goes. Is there any more forging that I'm doing in particular? I've assigned all my forgers. What am I forging? Must be forging some good stuff. So so I'm forging some more black hearts to use with spectral mages and things like that. Maybe I'll use some on some grey seers as well. They'll be good assassins. Yeah, I'm really kind of going in quite heavily on the assassin front. A water bottle. I'm just trying to work out where my other hammers are. What else I'm forging? Oh, I'm forging some earth boots up here, and I'm forging. This is right. I now have a nature 2 air 1 mage. This is my first one, and of course I've thrown a hammer on her to forge a ring of regeneration, and I'll probably be forging another one next turn just to get those items ready. They can be used on a lot of different things. If I'm not worried about anti-magic, I can put the ring of regen on the Devi of Darkness. I kind of want to keep the anti-magic on there as much as I can because I'm worried about, there's all kinds of nasty magic resist things that the Lizardmen can throw at me, and in fact that may not be enough magic resistance. Even very high magic resistance like that will fall to lots of high casting and high penetration soul slays, which they can certainly do. Yeah, so we'll see how it goes, and hopefully we'll have lots of fun battles next turn. So I will see you then. Thanks for watching. Hello, let's take a look at turn number 43. So quite a lot of messages. We've got 15 fire gems from Zharr-Naggrund, the Chaos Dwarfs, and the reason for that is because I talked to them and I said that I would be able to use Fate of Oedipus, which is a counter to the Eyes of God enchantment that the lizards have put up, so I can show you that in a moment. And they chipped in some fire gems, although basically because I think they're in a bit of a bad situation, I pretty much said that that's a loan and that I'll return some fire gems to them because I have tons of gems, and it's partly because the mechanic giving me gems is a little bit too strong. I've completed research in Blood Magic level 4, and I'm now doing Blood Magic level 5, and I'm going to kind of go up a few bits in Blood because there's a fair few useful spells that I can get there. We have a battle in Jelenia Gora in the magic phase, because it happens before this stuff. So this is Lizardmen casting a remote spell on us. Let's have a look. So they've cast Arouse Hunger, which gives them a ghoul leader and then a bunch of ghouls. Which is enough to beat weak province defense, but they have picked a province which has barbarian province defense, and I think that's 10 points worth. So let's have a look. The barbarians should do okay against ghouls. Yeah, not getting the morale checks, and the ghouls are beaten. The barbarians could have got broken there by morale checks because their morale's not that good, but when they're in province defense, it's okay because it's home site, positive dominion, etc. We did a bit of site searching here, and we have found one in Kratas. Sparkling Fields, which I think is an Air 1. I won't go to that just yet because I might spoil some other things that are going to happen. Captured some more blood slaves, and then we've got a bunch of battles. So firstly, we're attacking Lizardman province in Dragon Point. This is our force of gutter runners and rats against pretty minor province defense and one Riptactyl rider who comes right down in the middle and gets slaughtered. So with them dead, it's not going to be too much of a problem. The rats will help us, but the gutter runners will just chop through the province defense slowly. And then the rats eventually just swarm over and take them out. So we lose a gutter runner, 3 giant rats, fine. You can see from these battles that the Lizardmen are not really striking out to retake their provinces. They're kind of just sheltering in their forts. So we then have a battle in Feral Woods. This is the Lizardmen attacking us in our own territory. Feral Woods is a province we've had for quite a while. And weirdly, so they've got Eyes of God, so they could see that this was a place where I had a temple and a lab and a bunch of mages. And I guess they thought that they wouldn't really have much in the way of troops guarding them, because they've sent a stealthy squad to nip in there and kind of take us out. And this is one that's been running around in Chaos Dwarf territory for a while. So basically, this squad of sacred troops is coming up against our guys. But not only do we have a bunch of mages there and weapons teams, they're also scripted mages. I've actually, given them sensible scripts because I thought they might get into a fight. And I think this is enough to trigger gem usage, so you may see some gem usage. Maybe not, but yeah, lots of evocations. And imps coming in. Yeah, tons and tons of evocations. So our troops at the front, they get caught up in that, just get blown to pieces. But, then we've got loads of imps coming in, weapons teams, and so on. Interestingly, an imp with 15 fire resistance just got obliterated by weapons teams, which is a bit surprising. But yeah, they're defeated, and that's a pretty nice little victory for us because I was worried about them running around. I think there's only the one group of those actually, otherwise they would have been attacked in more places this turn. And yeah, wiped out all 10 Saurus of Fanchi and the Nightscale. So that's good to have gotten rid of one of the little raiding groups, and it's always good to just kill more of the Sacreds, because the Lizardmen armies really just built these very tough Sacreds that that's kind of the main risk to me, other than their great magic. Even with their great magic, if they didn't have all of these Sacreds in my way, I could just overwhelm them and get to their mages and kill them, but they really do have very tough Sacreds out there. But they will, of course, have seen all my stuff. And my Enchantress did run away because she was set to retreat because I was trying to keep her alive. She's got a Dwarven Hammer, which means I have to waste a turn of her walking back to a lab as well. Do you know the thing? There was a battle in Donemark. This is us attacking lizards in their territory. This is our pretty big squad of Council Guard and various mages. This is a decent force. The troop quality is actually a lot higher than the magic backing them up, which is not ideal, but it's okay. But they get to see some of my stuff. They get to see my guys using Astrofires. They've already seen my Bless, and they get to see this army. So possibly they can react to this next turn and maybe do something bad to this army. I'm not sure. It has no problem dealing with this province defense. We've got a battle in Runia. This is us attacking them again. So we really are being quite aggressive against them because they're not putting anything more into province defense, and they're not sending, like little groups of mages out or little groups of sacreds out to stop us from doing this. They're just defending their forts. And if they're just going to sit there defending their forts, then yeah, I will happily go out there and take out their province defense. That's fine by me. This has already been quite a profitable war for us, and this is, again, quite a profitable turn, really. Then we've got a battle in the Forest of Long Night, so this is another one where we're just hitting one of their provinces. Storm Vermin in this one, a little bit of a better force and some weapons teams. And they've got a little bit more here this time. I think this is not province defense, this is just some kind of leftover skink hunters they had. Or possibly they were being using for like patrolling, they were doing some blood hunting or something. But anyway, this is a very one-sided fight basically, because Storm Vermin can fight these guys, and we've got weapons teams there. They've even been somewhat nice and not friendly fired me to pieces for once. So that's good to see. Purely luck. Yeah, there we go. So we lost a Storm Vermin and a Clan Rat. That's fine, who cares? And then we get to see a very big battle in the Mines of Fortune. So I'm going to go to this and immediately pause it and then talk a little bit about what we're seeing. So we have the Lizardmen here. This force is an absolutely colossal force, as you can see, just a massive force, like a very much a very big blob. It's not like lots of formations to catch flankers and things, it's just this huge blob of sacred infantry. So we've got the Temple Guard, and then we've got all of these different sacred spawnings. They have spent quite a lot of gems, obviously, on sacred spawnings. They even have the Huanchi here, who have Dark Power 1. Yeah, they get just a +1 for being in a cave province, so they're good at fighting a cave. They've got lots of Saurus of Sotek and Chotek. Chotek are the ones that have fire resistance 30 and firepower 1, so Chotek are very good, perhaps a little bit too good. I might take the firepower away from them, I think, and maybe reduce the fire resistance to be a little bit more, because that's basically totally immune to fire, which is maybe a bit strong. They've got some Razordons and Salamanders who are going to provide ranged support for them. They've got a bunch of Communion slaves in the form of the Skink Priests, and maybe they'll be using the Priest of Sotek to do some of that. They're clearly using this Priest of Sotek to carry their gems for them, which I guess is fairly sensible. They've got one of their national heroes, Tehenhoin, the Prophet of Sotek, also known as Teeny Weeny. And he's got kind of a nice raft of abilities, but they're not really using, they haven't put a lot of gems in, they're not really using his abilities particularly. And then they've got several powerful Slann, including their third generation Slann, who is of course super powerful and has a 90% casting speed increase, so nearly twice as fast as a normal mage at casting things. The Chaos Dwarfs have lined up on their walls dwarf crossbowmen, which are very nice. They're good at defending forts. They, of course, benefit a little bit more than the lizards from the fact they're in a cave, because they have their 50 dark vision on their dwarfs, and they have their slaves also have 50 dark vision. They have not got a huge mage core, but they've got a decent mage core. They've got overlords and sorcerer lords here as well. Sorcerer lords with earth boots and loads of earth gems, so that's going to be earthquakes, I imagine. They're particularly nasty because they're in a cave province. I think that makes earthquake better, from what I remember. They've got sorcerers who are going to be casting just evocations, I think. Yeah, and then they've got their main body of their infantry is, of course, the Infernal Fireglaves, which are very strong. We've seen them do very well, but they just don't have very many. So, oh, they've also got one of their national heroes here, Shartor the Executioner, who they've given some gear to. They've given him a Dancing Shield, Ring of Fire. So Dancing Shield just is quite a nice misc item for just blocking some more damage that's coming in. He's got even more protection than usual, so he's got a huge amount of protection. Very tough, but he hasn't got fatigue reduction, he hasn't got regeneration, and his magic resistance is not shockingly high. It's 18, but that's not really going to be enough against the Slann. So, let us see what happens. We can see they're starting off with Summon Earth Power, which makes perfect sense. I'm going to put this on slow so we can kind of watch the things being cast. Phoenix Pyre being cast. Foul Vapours being cast, and Rain of Snakes, which is a very good national spell they have. So that's basically, these are like vine arrows, except where they land, you get a bunch of snakes. So there's the Foul Vapours going up, and that is bad news for the Chaos Dwarves because they don't have poison resistance. You can see the vine arrows coming down here, and you end up getting these snakes, but they're immediately destroyed. There goes the first earthquake, and that caused... Ooh! I think that set off somebody's Phoenix Pyre that they had set up, and has blown up a significant amount of the communion and set quite a few things on fire as well. So quite a lot of the communion just died there. This is the the skink priest and things exploding. So maybe not ideal for the lizardmen. I think there'll be more earthquakes coming. There's more lizards and things dropping down. There's some elementals being summoned up. Sharthor's fighting some of those. Some of their units that can teleport over, the Tepok Sacred Spawning. We've got some big size fire elementals that have been sent in, but they're going to have a little bit of trouble against, these quite hard-hitting sacreds. They do have bites, which makes them vulnerable on length one weapons, so they will take a bit of fire damage. But they will kind of get chopped down. They just needed more fire elementals, really, than they had. So we've got a little bit more evo, and forward come the Infernal Guard. Shartor has managed to deal with the teleports and things like that side. There goes another earthquake. So earthquakes hit things that have low defense, which certainly means they end up hitting the Chaos Dwarf units a fair bit. But that's less bad for them than the Foul Vapours, because earthquakes still have to do damage through protection. So if you've got tons of protection, you can tank an earthquake, not too badly. And their mages all have the enlarged status as well because of their bless. So they've got quite a few hit points. They can kind of survive these mild hits. The skinks could not, and have mostly been blown up. There are some of them left. I think one of them just got popped by a communion, stressing him out and killing him. So now we have the Saurus of Chotek moving in, and they're very resistant to the fire that's coming out here, primarily from these guys. In goes Shartor and absolutely annihilates some sacreds. And we've got a little bit of undead spam coming here. And then we've got a bunch of overlords who have been told, I guess they're on hold, and then attack, so they're kind of moving into fight. So the Chaos Dwarf stuff is pretty good, it just doesn't have the numbers, and these sacreds are very strong, so they're going to be hitting these guys pretty hard, plus all of the Foul Vapours is just going to start taking them out. We can see lots of paralyze and things like that coming in. Shartor has now been paralysed and poisoned. He's going to be hard for them to kill because they're not super hard hitting. These sacreds have only got the 28. That's actually pretty hard, but he is very tough. 32 protection, jeez. But the Foul Vapours is going to keep doing work. We've got some Earth Elementals and things, but it's just not enough to stop this many. I feel like the Chaos Dwarfs had a better strategy here, a more planned out idea of doing these earthquakes and things. They just didn't have enough troops. It was kind of well played. But yeah, their troops have just melted away. Shartor is now stuck. He's paralysed. I presume he's paralysed for a great long time. I don't think I can tell. Oh yeah, paralysed for 41 rounds. Good lord. Sorry, Shartor, you are done for. There goes another earthquake, which is nice. Interrupted some spellcasting, but yeah, that's another earthquake. The Slann, unfortunately, are immune to earthquake. In addition to having made themselves liquid body and I think ethereal, yeah, as well, they are also they are floating. That shows up on here, but they are floating. They're on these floating chairs, and so they're just not really affected at all by the earthquakes. But he has killed all of the skanks. They're all gone. Of the national heroes, we've still got Gorok the Great White Lizard. He's sort of a super general guy charging around. I think that Teeny Weeny is gone, which is kind of a nice little coup. Oh no, he is still alive. He's at the front there. Oh, he's on 4 hit points though. Oh, I don't know about that. You know, he might get out of there, or maybe not. But the Cursed Dwarves have now been defeated, so yeah, perhaps he will be okay. Just speed through the rest of this. Everything keeps going. Tiny, you see the Foul Vapors has got through, even though they've got poison resistance 18, you can see that a couple of them just died from Foul Vapors there. So you can see even with very high poison resistance, it can get you if you wait long enough. So let's have a look at the casualties. Obviously, the Chaos Dwarves got wiped out, but what did the Lizardmen take in terms of casualties? Well, they lost a scout. They lost a deep scale commander. They had lots of those though, they got plenty left. They've still got quite a few commanders, which is a bit of a shame because if we get all of our assassins in place to hit this stack, we've still got all of these things that we don't care about fighting with assassins left over, including some things that are very tough in combat, like the Great White Lizard. But the High Priest is dead. 2 Law Scales, they teleported in and they both died. The Master of Sky survived. That's one of the national heroes. They've got a lot of their national heroes in this fight. One of the Null Scales died, but they've still got 7 nulls. They've still got 6 left. Good lord, they have a lot of just random commanders and things. So assassination spam against this stack's not going to work that well, I think. Teeny Weeny survived. The Priest of Sokatek died, but Teeny Weeny's still there. And the Skink Priest, all 8 of them died. But you know, they're not that expensive. They can replace that. 3 Sunscales of Chotek. That's the Sunscale leaders. They're all dead. Well, they've still got 4 left though, so they've still got like 20 leaders or something, like guarding these Slann assassinations and the like. Lost all of their chameleon skinks, that'll be earthquakes. Lost all of their militia. Lost 4 of their Razordons, and you can see, you know, quite a few casualties of just everything here, and a pretty significant damage to their sacreds. You know, that's quite a few dead. Particularly 20 Temple Guard out of 47. Obviously, Temple Guard are not super easy to replace. It's easier to replace the Sacred Spawnings, but they do cost gems. And yeah, this is maybe like I think it's over a third really. Like this is kind of a third of the Glascottle, which is what they have the most of. They do have 25 fire resistance to us. They have a lot of things with fire resistance. We need to bear that in mind when we're fighting them. All this fire resistance is going to make it, you know, tons of fire elementals is not going to be super useful against this stack. And yeah, the Chaos Dwarfs lost everything they had. You know, it's a pretty bad loss. They lost a Sorcerer Lord, a Stone Curse Sorcerer Lord. It's not quite as bad as you might think because it's actually not that many mages. They still must have a lot of mages left, but it's a fair few. It's a national hero who is very good and could have done with some better items. The Overlords, okay, fine, you know, not super important. They're just tough, like general units. And then they lost their Fireglaves, which is obviously very bad for them. But yeah, you can see the damage the earthquakes did. Master Alchemist coming out with 167 kills. Is that right? And the Sorcerer Lord with 88. Let's just rewatch this battle to have a look at this Master Alchemist. Oh, is that because that was their pretender? Did I miss that? Ah, of course, he is their pretender. He's their god, and he got trapped in there. I didn't realize that, but of course he was doing the earthquakes. You know, that's his main strategy, is just doing tons of earthquakes. That's why he got all the kills. That's very interesting. Yeah, shame that they lost their pretender there. I hadn't realized that. But yeah, a valiant defense by the Chaos Dwarfs. But I think overall, that's losses that the Lizardmen can afford. The question is, you know, they've been focusing all their efforts on taking that fort. They have taken it. They've killed an enemy pretender. But are they going to push on to the Chaos Dwarf territory? They have to come back and deal with me, surely. We'll see. So in Feral Woods, we've reopened the Warpstone Seam. So this is an event you can get with the Skaven. You have a closed Warpstone Seam, and you have a lab. You build a lab there, or you have a lab there. You've got a chance of reopening it. You've also got a chance of them failing to reopen it and the lab exploding and killing a bunch of your guys. So it's nice that we've got the income back from that one. Then we've got some extra gold. Very nice. We're already kind of swimming in gold because of these provinces we're taking. And then we lose some population. That's a bit unfortunate, but you know, oh well. This is a province that I may not be able to hold from the Lizardmen anyway. And then, you know, normal. We've got the fortification breached in Elderhill, which you knew about, so we'll be storming that this turn, and then lots of patrols. So the plans this turn are storming Elderhill. That's a major thing that we're doing, of course. And I will show you which units are storming. So if I select those and then go to the army screen, you can see it's all these ones in white. We've got some Shadow Blast, Blast of Unlifes, Corpse Candles, things like that coming in, and then we're using the usual strategy of mages at the back with a stack of Council Guard, I think it is. They're casting Skitterleap on them, and then the Council Guard are going to attack rear. We're leaving out the weapons team so that we don't end up roasting loads of our own troops, because I'm pretty sure there is not much in this castle. Now, they could be that they can teleport in stuff before I enter the siege, and it could be they've made an elaborate trap where they can do a Foul Vapors trap, or they can do Firestorm, Wrathful Sky, who knows? Some horrible kind of magic trap for me. This could go horribly wrong. This is one of the troubles with storming a castle, but hopefully, whatever we send in there will be able to take it. You know, unless they have a force that can hold us there for a while, even if they do battlefield wide things, unless they are earthquakes, things like that are instant, we shouldn't lose that much anyway. We do have some people in there casting in favour of Nurglitch on our troops that are moving in there. We do have some weapons teams there. Do I want to keep those weapons teams in? I will take the flamethrower out at least. Yeah, maybe I'll keep the group of weapons teams, but I'll have them have a long walk before they get there. We've got some rats going in, and we've got some kind of slaves and things to just give us more hit point pool. And we've got up front 2 of these doom wheels, which will go rolling in. And then this is our main storming force. It's Storm Vermin and Council Guard. We've got Tretch can go in there to do some fighting as well. Yeah, we've got Divine Blessing and Anti-Magic we'll be doing. Oh, actually, he can't do Anti-Magic, so I'm going to just change the script a bit there. So now instead of Thanscat going in and doing Anti-Magic, we've got Thanquol who'll go and do Anti-Magic. I have to risk Thanquol in the process, which is not my favourite thing to do. I guess, actually, I could move the items from Thanquol to someone else, but just as I'm saying that I don't really want to risk Thanquol, I think it's cooler if I risk him. He is a national hero. It's kind of more fun, right, if I've got Thanquol in there. So yeah, let's send Thanquol and Bone Ripper in there. That's you know, it's not a good idea. Don't take this as being tactical advice, but it is fun. We've got some fire elementals and they're ethereal, so they can pass through the walls on the top side. But I don't really think there's going to be that much in there. I think the force that was in there already fought us. They thought they were going to win because there weren't that many of us. They didn't realise, because my troops were stealth moving, that I had a big load of forces that could come in there and beat them up. Anyway, in the background, we've got our Grey Seers moving around to give us cover against Mind Hunt in various places, including over here. Tretch will be giving cover to these troops. And I suppose I could give him... I could give Tretch anti-magic. Yeah, let's risk Tretch. So this isn't a high value attack I'm making here, but I am willing to risk Tretch. So let's have him go and cast anti-magic. And then, do we need Divine Blessing? I don't think we need Divine Blessing in this battle. So let's have him go and cast. I'll set him up to do a Shadow Blast, and then you just cast whatever you want after that. I'm going to set him up to do that just in case there's something particularly nasty that's been sent. And I'll give him a Death Gem so that he can do that. My supply scouts. Yep, so he's there and he's got a Shadow Blast ready to hit anything strong that happens to come out of here, but I don't think there's going to be much defending that, to be honest. I believe that these lizards are going to turn around and come back. If you look at the map move involved, that's 17, that's 33, that's 26. They do have some survivals, but I think basically they're going to be moving back to this province. So in this province, we are going to have a big load of assassins. Originally, when I was planning this, I was hoping that a lot more of their leaders would be dead, and so I would have a higher chance of getting some slan and things like that. It's nice that the skink priests are dead, but I do have national heroes and very tough kind of combat, sacred commanders and things that I will be fighting. But either way, I'm hoping to pick a few things off there. And if I got any more assassins that I can move over, no, this is pretty much all the assassins I can get in place for this turn. I suppose I could. Can Sharp Eyes get there? Nope. I suppose I could potentially. No, they're too far away. They can't. Oh, look at that. So you can't get there, Guttershan. Go and join in that force. But Valgamu can get there. Isn't that interesting? That's because he has Boots of the Messenger and he's undead, so he has super high map move. So yeah, he is able to get over there, and he is one of our premier assassins because he's got Boots of the Messenger. He's got decent protection. He's ethereal and so on. He's my spectral mage assassin. I give the Black Heart to. So what he'll do is he'll go into combat and he will just cast skeletons at the enemy. I may wish to get Horde of Skeletons if I'm relying on him doing something this turn. So I could do Blood Magic level 5, and then how much would it take to get Horde of Skeletons? Just level 5 enchantment. Let's get level 5 enchantment on our way before we hop back to doing construction. Yeah, so maybe I'll have enough to do that. Actually, I can tell you this turn that I will have enough. I will get enchantment level 5. So yeah, so he should have Horde of Skeletons available for that assassination then, which is nice. So I'm attacking up here. This is very speculative. There's not much of a force I'm sending. This is the same guys who've been doing all this great work for me, but they could easily lose up there. And I am sending a fairly large attack down here. Now this is quite risky. They fairly clearly should be expecting this attack, right? I've got nowhere else for these troops to go. It's not a great army. I mean, it's good. It hasn't really got the mage support that I would like it to have. It does have some good support from these guys. We're getting some Will-o'-the-Wisp casting over here from Brassic. We don't have anyone who can do magma eruptions. We don't have things like that. We've got Filthangs doing Divine Blessing, Anti-Magic, and then Astral Fires, which is, fine. Got some other decent sacreds. This is, in terms of troop quality, very, very nice, fine. We've also, I should say I've got the assassin there just for the purposes of giving me a water elemental and then staying behind the troops, basically. It's just to get that extra water elemental. If they're patrolling with very serious force of mages and they've got like 70 temple guards and various other things and a 5th generation slan, this could really give me trouble. If they use like a mass flight or something like that, or fog warriors, could be very unpleasant for me. But I think it's worth trying it. If this goes wrong, that's fine. It's not like a terrible blow to our forces. This is the big army that we've got, really. That would be a very bad blow if we lose severely over here. And so far they've been pretty passive, and even though this is a very obvious move, I don't know, maybe they'll just be hiding in their fort for another turn? Not sure. I just kind of, I want to keep the initiative here. So like another thing I'm doing is, over here I've got a mage who's actually casting Blight, and this is partly just because they used a remote on me, but he's casting Blight on Jome, which is this fort here. And I'm hoping to just like have a volume. Blight basically does a bit of economic damage to the province. I'm basically hoping to just give them a sense of a volume of stuff coming at them, like they're getting hit with remotes, things like that. Especially since they used a remote on me, I just want to kind of fire back. Another spell I should talk about is that I am casting Fate of Oedipus. So let's have a quick look at Fate of Oedipus. I believe it's Evocation. Where are you, Fate of Oedipus? Let's switch to just fire. Here it is. 75 fire gems, so very, very expensive for what it does. It's only 4 fire to cast, which is why we were able to get to it. Punishes a mage for having claimed the Eyes of God. Their eyes are blasted by brilliance. Eye sockets emptied forever. The Eyes of God no longer serve the world. So it's a specific counter to Eyes of God. I don't know why it exists other than it's very like a punishment for hubris. It's very on theme. I don't think it's a very good idea to cast this spell because Eyes of God is not a super relevant global anyway, and if he wanted to, he could probably just recast it. But I've never actually successfully cast this on somebody who did Eyes of God before. It's funny, and I agreed with the Chaos Dwarfs, so I will certainly be casting it. Yeah. If I were fighting against an enemy who had less fire protection than the Lizardmen very clearly do, I would maybe be going up to try and get Pillar of Fire, just because I've got so many fire mages. But for now, the plan is, yeah, Fate of Oedipus on them. I've got reserves, I've got backup stuff. I've got my god who will be flying in here to the fort, because hopefully I'll have taken that, and then they can use the lab in the fort. And with all the preaching I'm doing, that should be positive Dominion then. And that will give me a little bit more mobile firepower if I need it. I need to just dash something if I know the god can go and take it. And I can change their equipment. I've already changed it a bit by giving them a lead shield to get that magic resistance way up, because that's what I'm mostly worried about with the god. But I don't have any real reinvigoration here. I have some earth power I'll cast, but I don't have any real reinvigoration, and they've got quite a bit of encumbrance now because the lead shield is rather encumbering. As you can see, 3 encumbrance. So they can't manage in really long fights, but I can change their equipment around. Obviously, there's various things I can give them. I've also got my troll who can be casting earthquakes in battle, which would also be quite useful for us. So possibly I should send him a bit closer, actually. Get him moving in the right direction. Yeah, pop him one along by one to Sleepy Mountains. My sea trolls and everything are going over towards the sea provinces, and we'll just try and take some to water provinces with them, basically. And everywhere else I'm building up. I had a lot of income this turn because of all these provinces I've taken. I really am expecting the Lizardmen to hit back a bit. I think this is partly that they're just not that worried because their economy is so strong and they have lots of territory and they're holding onto their forts. They did try and fight me a bit here, and I think they were just very focused on slapping the Chaos Dwarfs down and doing this fight. So they did that. They kind of have been holding back, and now I'm expecting them to start hitting me back. So we'll see. Hopefully there should be some good fights for us to watch. But yeah, I'm recruiting more mages. I've got backup plans for if things go wrong. We should get a good fight down here. This should be an easy storming, I'm hoping. And then hopefully we get to do another assassination trap like we did against the High Elves, and that'll be very nice to see. It's blasting away a bunch of their commanders. That might slow their forces coming to deal with me as well. So that's everything for this turn, and I will see you next turn. Thanks for watching.